Hello, I'm Becky and welcome to another episode of Diet Culture Can Fork Off. So I help women over 30 who are stuck in diet cycles create that food freedom and feel confident in their bodies, and that's without obsessing over scales or numbers or missing out on living, because what's the point otherwise? So I do that all through my one-to-one Empower coaching and my Misfit group coaching as well. So today I want to talk about unrealistic beauty standards. Because of everything that's going on right now in the news, I have really got a fire, I guess, in my belly. And talking about this, I feel like I'm having rants behind closed doors. I'm expressing my views on social media. But to really dive into it, I need, a bit more time and space to be able to do that, which I thought, let's do a podcast. So yeah, I'm really fired up. And the reason I'm really fired up is because probably of my own history. And probably like many of you that listen to this as well. If you grew up in that 90s noughties diet culture, we had that history of the skinny trend, the thin ideal, you won't be successful unless you're skinny or look a certain way. You had to have a certain aesthetic. And it made me feel that I was someone that never fitted in anyway at school. I wasn't part of the popular kids or anything like that, and I was extremely shy, and the way I coped with that was controlling food. And looking back, it probably was due to the narrative that we saw all around us, it was in the magazines. Heroin chic was everywhere. Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Like when Kate Moss said that, and I used to repeat that to myself, because they were portraying this image that meant success. It meant beauty. It meant you were worthy if you looked this way. And not only that, did the magazines, media supported that as well by making comments on women's bodies, telling them that they wouldn't be successful unless they lost weight. Obviously with the new documentary on America's Next Top Model has just come out as well, and I remember watching that, and they were telling these super thin girls that they were fat, which of course that's triggering. You look back and you're like, what the fuck? No wonder that I had all this these hang-ups around my body and thinking that I need to shrink, I need to make myself smaller. But not only that, obviously when you're feeling that way, it's not just about shrinking stuff, it's the way it affects you emotionally and mentally as well. Because I knew that I felt miserable. I didn't have the energy either. It took up every waking moment of my thoughts. It's just horrendous when you look back. And I know I've told this story before, and I know many of you that I speak to have felt this as well. But yeah, it was everywhere. And now looking back, and I think this is why I started to coach in the way I do, is because I've always had this feeling that something wasn't right about that trend. And I couldn't understand why it keeps coming back. Why does this skinny trend keep coming back? With the amount of work we put in, the amount of times we tried to change this. I mean, we had all the body positivity movement, but that didn't last. And then obviously people tried to say that was toxic and things like that, which obviously there were sides to it that weren't great, which I've talked about before. But it just seems every time we try to do something positive and make these changes with regards to women's body, something always goes back to that shrinking and that thin ideal. And that's the issue. We're looking at it, and obviously what we know now, and I know I put an article up on my social media the other day that Jamila Jamil wrote about how it ties into making us look like young girls. And that's the creepy fact. And I know that's something that people have talked about before. And maybe I kind of knew it, but I wasn't quite confident enough to speak about this stuff before. And I am now. I've got fire in my belly because of everything that's going on. And I feel like I need to express my views on this. It's even more important that I do now. So as I've grown my confidence with what I do, my confidence as a coach, I now feel like it is the right time for me to be speaking out about this stuff. But yeah, this thin ideal has literally made us look like young girls. And that isn't right, is it? It's really not right. Not only that, it's this element of being oppressed, like they're taking our voices, making us feel exhausted, making us feel like all we think about is our body image, comparing ourselves to other women and thinking about food 24/7. It's actually making me quite emotional speaking about it, because I know that I felt that way and so many women do. And now when we're looking back, it's like, but why? Why has it always been targeting women? And why has it always been this, that we need to look a certain way? But it's in such an oppressive way, that we had to be more palatable. We couldn't speak out. Like, if you think about women that have always spoken out, how are they portrayed in the media? Crass or bolshy, or, they're very negative when women are more powerful. And it's like they've always wanted to keep us quiet. And the best way to do that, keep us hungry. You can't fight and you can't stand up on an empty stomach, can you? Because you haven't got the energy to. It's all about keeping us small. And as I mentioned, like every time we try to fight it, it's like the skinny trend comes back in. Look what's happening in the world now, and look, skinny talk. People are like talking about like this, like being skinny again, and just like, what is happening? Why can't we stop this? Surely, like, generation after generation after generation, we've seen the damage that it does. And it's not okay. And it's not like, I feel like we're not standing up enough against it. But obviously, we need to do generational healing here as well around it. And it's not going to heal. It's not just going to heal overnight, but we need to be doing everything in our power to make sure the next generations don't feel like they need to shrink themselves or to stay quiet, So, yeah, maybe they've never wanted us to fight back. Maybe they're scared the power that women have, because we're powerful. Like, think about it. Think about what women do, what we go through in our lives. We're fucking powerful, man. Like, we have got so much fight. We've got so much, like, to say. We've got so much about us. I think the patriarchy is scared, to be honest. I think they are scared of us. And they are scared of what we can achieve if we have our voices, if we have our power. Because, look what happens when a bunch of rich white men, patriarchal men, are in power. It's not good. And they've been hiding that and getting away with it for far too long. So all we can do is make sure that we're not conforming. We're not conforming to their bullshit. We're not going to listen to, trying to put us down, trying to feel like we have to fit in. We don't need approval from males. We don't. We just need to be able to find our own power and our own confidence, and don't give a fuck about what other people think about you. Because you've got this. You totally have. I work with so many women, and each one inspires me in so many different ways. Especially when I see them come into their confidence. And I'm like, that's a powerful thing, man. It's so powerful. And I'm so like excited to see hopefully more of this happening. But yeah, I do know this actually sounds a bit conspiracy theorist, doesn't it? Like, with the like, oh, well, they try to keep us small and like, so we don't fight back. But tell me, is it coincidence that this skinny trend keeps coming back no matter how much we fight it? Like, I don't know. But all I know is, more than ever, I've got a fire in my belly to stand up about this stuff. More than ever do I want more women to feel confident and confident in themselves, be able to speak up and, feel good and empowered, like even more so. Because like, I do feel like the distraction here with like our body image is the only way that they've been able to control us. And I know what it sounds like. I do feel this belief around it, because who controls the media? Let's start there. And why do these body images actually come up? Mainly from certain sources in media, fashion trends. It's a certain way, because it just feels too coincidental. But as I was saying, I have felt it, for too long. I felt it too difficult to speak out about these things, because I always have a fear of getting judged, or that people are like, oh, what's she on about, or this sounds like just conspiracy theorists, or she's being too much. But actually, I feel like I've had to, and like I said, I feel more confident as a coach, feel more confident I put more content out onto the internet. And the feedback that I get is incredible, which helps. It helps me understand that actually this is what people need to hear. So, even if after this episode you're like, I needed that, please let me know, because I get like, oh no, hope that went down okay. But I do feel like I've now have this right, I need to speak up about this stuff. I need to talk about it. I want to empower women even more. So I cannot sit in the background and let this happen and not speak up, because that's not what I'm about. There's no integrity saying that you help women and empower women if you're not actually speaking up about the things that you believe in, and helping women see that they're not alone in these feelings, that they're not losing their mind by thinking about it, that we're here for each other. And I cannot do that by sitting on the sidelines. And I do not want to sit on the sidelines. I want to be at the forefront of this movement, because I do believe it's a movement. And we've got the chance now to embrace that and empower ourselves around it. So that's why I want to talk about it more. Even with everything else going on in the world around women's rights as well, abortion policies around the world being questioned is scary to me. Here in the UK, I see a Reform Party making comments about taxing women for not having babies, and that they need to, women need to understand that they need to have babies younger, because otherwise they're get infertile, that's not healthy to have babies later in life. It's like they literally want to turn us into some sort of breeding cult. And I'm not here for that, because, again, it feels like I was ranting to Alex this morning. I was like, it feels like they want to oppress us again. Well, you're not allowed to go and have a career. You're not allowed to go to uni. You're not, you've got to stay at home and look after the kids. And why? I'm not going to be some 1950s housewife. I'm sorry, but, I chose I don't want children. Obviously, there's other people out there that can't. There's people that choose to, but they want to have their careers first. They want to be able to live their lives first. Why do we have to be dictated to by a government to make our choices for us? No. And plus, if they didn't make the cost of living so high, maybe people would have more kids. Literally there's this part of it. It's well, people are struggling to afford families. So, rather than deflect onto us, maybe they should take some responsibility for their own shortcomings. But anyway, that's a different rant. And I'm not the most educated in politics at all, so I don't want to dive too much into it. It's not my, I haven't got too much knowledge around it. But what I do know is about diet culture and societal beauty standards, because that is the work I do. And that's why I feel this work is even more important now. I want women to be the healthiest, the most confident, and the most empowered that they ever have. Not to be distracted by worrying about how you look, comparing yourself, body image, or food issues. Because to be honest, when you work on these things as well, you do see changes in your body as well. But the biggest thing is that you're doing it for yourself, not to please anyone else, not to feel that you'll fit in, not to feel that you'll be successful or seeking worth from others. You do this for yourself. And now I have seen that time and time again with the clients that I work with, because we start focusing on what they want, what means, and honestly, when we do these, I don't actually care about scale weight anymore. Yeah, I've gone down a dress size, but I don't actually care. That's not what I want anymore. That's not actually my goal anymore. And to me, that's incredible that I've managed to change someone's viewpoint or help them, guide them to a viewpoint, because they do the hard work. I'm just here to guide. When I see the change of like, actually, I don't care what that scale weight says. I don't care about, looking a certain size or being a certain size. I just feel confident. I feel good. And I don't care about food anymore. And I'm just enjoying life. How powerful is that? And that is what we need more of. Okay. That is what I'm all about. So that's my little rant for today. I know I've probably gone up there. I hope that's not been too much for you. But if you have enjoyed it, please do let me know. Because like I said, it's good for me to know, if this is the kind of podcast that helps you, the kind of content that helps you, because I know it helps me to rant about it, helps me to, it helps me feel inspired and fired up to help more people. But if you do want to know more about my coaching, just click the link below and you can apply on there. But in the meantime, like and share my content, because honestly, it helps so much. The more shares that we can get out there, the more it spreads the word, because we need it out there. And I'll leave you with my final quote that I've decided is now my little slogan is: fuck diet culture and step into your power.